Hi everybody, thanks for joining me. We're going to take a final look at the storm that's coming tonight and tomorrow for first significant snowstorm really for southern Vermont all winter, which is hard to believe on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. But I want to give you some updates. There are a few updates. A few things have changed, not dramatically, but a little bit. Snowfall totals have actually been bumped up a little bit, so I'm going to go into great depth to try to give you an idea of, depending on what town you live in, about how much snow you're going to get, and also give you some explanation as to why I think snowfall totals have come up a little bit. We still could see a little mixing, but we're going to talk about all those details as we get going. So here, let's take a look. First of all, at radar, our storm is definitely coming together here. And this radar picture actually is going to show, kind of tell the picture of what's going to happen. You can see we've already got this very well-developed storm already, got this big comma shape going on, and the storm is already almost into a mature state. It's going to continue in a mature state, but what's happening, you can see when a storm gets mature like this, on the east or the kind of the north side of it, this area of precipitation tends to shrink, and what happens is you get a dry slot that pushes up through the storm, and that's been very well modeled, and I think it's very likely that the dry slot will come. And what's going to happen is, just at about the time we would change over from snow to sleet and freezing rain, I think this precipitation is going to let up. So by the time most of our precipitation has moved through, we will have already seen it all as snow when we get to change over, and then we'll just kind of get light drizzle and maybe some freezing drizzle that comes through after the storm has already basically ended, and then we will get a little bit of wrap around on the backside. But unlike normal situations where you have all this precipitation on the backside when the storm's a little more out to sea than the storm is going to be, normally all of that precipitation would come through in kind of one big slug. But with the track this one is taking, we're going to get the dry slot, and that's going to actually mean that we get mostly snow instead of changing over in this case. Storm track, this has not changed from yesterday's map. Basically, it's riding right over the top of us, which is kind of a very inland track for this time of year, but it's so cold, and as that dry slot approaches, that we're going to be snow for most of the first hit of precipitation, and that first hit of precipitation is going to drop snow quite heavy from starting at about midnight tonight through late morning tomorrow morning, I think, probably accumulating snow through 10, 11, 12 o'clock tomorrow, and then it wraps up. We will still have some light precipitation around, could be mostly, like I said, freezing, a little freezing drizzle or a little drizzle, nothing too significant, and then some wraparound snow showers. That probably wouldn't happen until after dark, maybe even on Monday night headed into Tuesday, and those shouldn't really amount to much, except for maybe a coating, maybe make the roads briefly slippery going over the mountains again or something like that. So what does that mean? All right, everyone starts to snow between 12 and 2 a.m., maybe even bump that up. Some of us might start as early as 11 p.m. tonight. Changeover happens just as the dry slot arrives. Areas to the west of the mountains will see significant shadowing. You'll see that in my snowfall core forecast. By 10 a.m., I think the heavy precipitation diminishes to light drizzle, and winds will cause scattered power outages. I think we are going to be pretty breezy. The higher terrain could easily see some 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts, which could cause a few power outages. I don't think it'll be huge, but there will be a few power outages. And then snow will be kind of heavy, particularly as the storm moves on. It'll start off fluffy, but it'll get heavier as the storm moves on. So if you're going to be out there shoveling tomorrow, take caution, because it is going to be kind of difficult to shovel, particularly the back half of the storm. So let's take a look and see what we've got in terms of snow totals by county. So up in Rutland County, I think Rutland in the city, roughly 6 to 8 inches of snow, depending on where you are. Brandon, 5 to 7 inches of snow. Castleton, 6 to 8, and Paulet, 7 to 9. You'll notice those are all in the western parts of Rutland County. I think the western areas west of the Greens, you're going to see significantly less snow, whereas Killington, with the elevation and certainly driven snow, we're looking at more like 16 to 18 inches of snow. I think Killington will probably be a jackpot for our 4 southern counties. Not unusual. Wallingford, 12 to 14 inches there as well. If we take a look at Bennington County, same story here, right? Manchester, 6 to 8 inches, where if you head just up the mountain to Peru, you're probably talking closer to a foot, maybe even a little bit more than a foot. Winhall, for instance, 12 to 14. Shaftesbury, 7 to 9, but in Woodford, another jackpot spot, often 14 to 16 inches of snow. Bennington, I think down in the city and in the village there, 5 to 7 inches of snow. And Pawnell, about 6 to 9 inches of snow. If we head over to Windsor County, I think up in Bethel, they'll get 10 to 12 inches of snow roughly. Hartford along the Connecticut River, probably 7 to 9, more like 7 right along the river as you head west out of town, more like 9 inches of snow. Woodstock's 9 to 11 inches of snow. Windsor, 6 to 8, again, same thing as Hartford there. The closer you get to the river, the less. Same thing in Springfield there. Chester, as you're heading up out of Springfield, you're looking at 8 at the kind of in the east side of Chester, west side of Chester, heading towards Andover, 10, maybe 11, 12 if you're heading towards Andover. And then finally for Windham County, Jamaica, 10 to 12 inches of snow. Bellows Falls, same story as Windsor and Springfield and Brattleboro, or 5 to 7 in Brattleboro as well. Newfane, as you start to head a little bit west, get into your elevation, 8 to 10. Wardsboro, as you continue heading west, 11 to 13. And I think Wilmington as well, 9 to 11 inches of snow. So you can see it's pretty terrain different. If you want to see what that looks like on the map, this is the same map I've been showing. I just bumped the numbers up. This was looking at 3 to 5 in the green the other day. I think 5 to 9 for a lot of the green. So like I said, those areas that are more shadowed right down along the Connecticut River, I think you're more in the 5 to 7. And certainly over in like the Bennington area, I think you're more in that 5, 6, 7 inch range as you get a big shadowing effect from the mountains. But if you're along the spine of the greens, you're talking 10 to 16 inches, plus could see some 18 to 20 inch amounts for some of the ski areas. So big storm, big snow for the ski areas, which is really good news. And it is terrain driven. And basically what's happening is you've got very strong easterly winds that are going to get pushed over the higher terrain in western New Hampshire. And then as it comes down off the mountains, that actually lowers the intensity of the precipitation. That's why right in the Connecticut River, we're looking at those 5 to 9 inch totals. Also, that's somewhat caused by, there could be a little bit more mixing in those lower elevations as well. I think it's more about terrain. Same thing to the west of the greens happens as well. And if you headed further west into the Hudson River Valley, same issues as you head there. Tomorrow morning, I will go live for a Nowcast from 6:30 to 7:30. I don't expect you to watch the whole hour. If you want to, you certainly can. I want you to ask questions. It's going to be a time to kind of, if you ask a question like, hey, where can I find this information out? I'll try to find it online for you, show it to you. It's going to be casual. We'll probably look at a lot of different radars, try to find as many snowfall totals as we can, try to find some pictures of plows and things like that. Should be a lot of fun. So if you want to join me for that time tomorrow morning, just hop in for any amount of time, ask a question through YouTube, and I'd be happy to try to answer it live as we go. Also, want to give a quick shout out to all my patrons who help support what I do here. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would encourage you to do so because it makes sure that you don't miss any of these videos going forward. I'll be back, like I said, tomorrow from 6:30 to 7:30. And then this week, because it's a short work week, on Tuesday morning, I'll have your work week forecast out for you.